Awesome. Brett, thank you for joining me today. Firstly, can you just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about My Expert?
Yeah, definitely. Brett Wedelton, the founder and director of My Expert for 25 years. We run an advice business. We do home loans, residential, commercial, lending, car loans, leasing. We also offer tax advice for customers and financial planning. So we're across industries.
Awesome. Thank you. And how long have you been working with staff offshore?
We've been working with staff probably the last 8 years in total. It wasn't the first time we tried it, but yeah, it's very different in relation to, I suppose, dealing with class staff locally. So it's been a learning experience, that's for sure.
Yeah. And what originally led you to look offshore to find staff for your business?
Yeah, it actually initially came across through my relationships in the business that there was an opportunity to look at it. And basically, we did start off in India with some close relationships just due to a business partner that I had in the business previously. And that's where we started, but it's definitely changed direction since then.
Yeah. And what sort of roles has My Expert actually hired offshore?
Yeah, so mostly on the home loan side of things at this stage in relation to processing. So the back end loading of applications and chasing lenders and dealing with lenders and chasing up more information and getting them approved has been, I suppose, our heavily invested part of the business with the team. But definitely right now, as the business grows, there's further opportunity to get other skill set people, definitely offshore, that's for sure.
And you mentioned at the start that you started with India. You're obviously in the Philippines with us. What have you found to be the challenges of working with remote staff, whether it be the cultural challenges or just the physical distance challenges? What have you found to be the biggest challenge working with remote teams?
Yeah, good question. Definitely the cultural in the beginning, just to really understanding and try and getting to open up was probably a crucial part that definitely took time. Unfortunately, they're not really outspoken. And the journey was, I suppose, we did start over in India. We had some direct staff with no real management or recruiting involved at the early stages. So we really did have to invest a lot of time in upskilling them and really that communication. But the issue is over there is probably the timing of day to day. So that they work from 2 o'clock our time through to 10 o'clock our time, which in theory you might think works okay, but it actually doesn't. That the sync with the broker or the team member they're working with actually doesn't really align. It does align for a short period of time, but that's why the Philippines has been crucial with yourselves, where they actually work our time and dealing that, I suppose, syncing in with the file and real-time work. You can't beat that. So yeah, so definitely that part. And then again, just building the confidence within the offshore team to talk openly and give us feedback in relation to all of the processes. So that's taking a little bit of time to build.
Yeah, of course. And with the staff in the Philippines, I know recently you went over and visited them. You were on one of our team trips. How valuable was that for you getting some face time with them?
That's been priceless, to be honest. Prior to the catch up, the team bonding catch up, look, they were fine. They were quite open online because obviously being offshore, a lot of it depends on the communication online itself. And you can chitter chatter a little bit and build a bit of rapport and ask what they're up to. But really catching up and spending that amazing time, even the conversations that we had, especially being outside of work hours, was probably really, really important. During work hours, you're mindful of time and work and output, but being able to spend a couple of days with them and not having that pressure or really even talking about business, talking about who they are and, their lifestyle and their upbringing and their stories, because everyone does have their own story. So having the time to listen and understand and really know it all in relation to their issues and how they go about day to day has been amazing, more so for myself as well as my team, understanding the culture better, the environment of which that they live in is completely different to here in Australia. So there's a lot of different levels that, yeah, it was just amazing. So I'll definitely be doing it again.
Awesome. And what about, how have you incorporated the team? Obviously, when you are remote, how have you tried to incorporate your staff offshore in the My Expert business in Australia?
Yeah, we've tried to do it as much as possible. Funny enough, we've sent a survey to the entire team, including offshore, to get a bit of feedback on their side as to how they'd like to feel appreciated and rewarded. But the main area really is probably on Teams. We use Outlook people, just getting them online. So it's been really tricky. We do generally do the birthday gift or a voucher or a thank you, and having the staff, especially the Philippines, offshore through yourselves, Frontline have been amazing in, I suppose, orchestrating that, getting those gifts out to our staff. We've got a couple of direct over in India, and it's just been a little bit difficult. Unfortunately, it's not really fantastic, but maybe just sending a little bit of money here and there. So the experience having yourselves involved and being on top of that as well. Historically, I've probably been a little bit poor in relation to celebrating, I suppose, birthdays or even anniversaries. But your teams definitely proactively let us know prior to the event, and it definitely adds a lot of value having you guys involved as well.
Yeah, speaking of that, the direct staff versus hiring staff through a provider like us, what have you seen as the key things, the key support areas that you get through a provider like Frontline as opposed to hiring directly yourself?
Yeah, well, firstly, probably the professionalism of onboarding the customer in relation to, I suppose, the vetting and the interview process. Look, I'm not, versed in India and the culture and the work ethics there, or even the same in the Philippines. So having someone on the ground in the Philippines is crucial, not only trying to promote and attract quality staff, but just the interview questions and understanding, I suppose, not the concerns, but understanding the restrictions or getting work done over there, whether it be something as simple as the internet quality. Yeah, being over there and vetting that is priceless. I definitely don't have the capacity to, vet their work from home environments or anything like that, let alone offering the office setup that you guys do have. If we can get the team to build and continually use that office, if it's obviously as long as it's within a certain time frame, we could definitely push the clients to go back to your office. So having that as an offering is awesome.
Yeah. And what would you say, to someone else who's thinking about looking at offshore staffing, where would you tell them to start?
Yeah, firstly, having a conversation with yourselves would be one, just understanding, I suppose, the employment pool over there as to the quality of the staff that you could attract, but probably going back to the business is really being clear as to what your business needs, right down to almost duties, definitely job descriptions, and having that as clear as you can, because handing that over to Frontline, they use that as the basis of vetting and looking for experienced staff. So it's important that the business is clear on exactly what they're looking to recruit, and that could be across any level of their business. So yeah, it's very broad as to your employment pool over there, but it's really critical for the business to know what their needs are first.
Yeah. And just going back a bit to when you originally decided to get staff offshore, how have you found now that having staff accessing that other talent pool offshore, how has that impacted your business and your clients?
Yeah, it's been amazing, especially now the cost level. Obviously, we are all aware of the costs, not necessarily potential savings. I view it as the opposite, that I'm actually able to employ more people on other areas in the business that realistically I'd probably not skimp on, but probably not focus so much in my business. And probably the number one part is for us on the home loan side of things is pricing. We've been able to employ a full-time person who just, with all of our clients on variable rates, go back to the bank and ask for a further discount on the current home loan rate without the client knowing. So we're able to give them proactive, happy news that we've been able to negotiate a cheaper rate. And I feel that's just part of our service. And to be honest, the cost to get someone full-time working on our thousands of clients that we do have, if I had to pay for staff here in Australia to do it, it'd probably be something that would get pushed onto other team members, could potentially be the advisors or the brokers themselves. And of course, that's back-end retention. So I want them to be focusing on front-end, getting new clients and onboarding clients, and being able to, recruit even that skill set and train them within our culture is amazing. So they're actually working very well with the brokers and the advisors in helping clients save money. So yeah, it's definitely an advantage in growing our team.
Awesome. And there's another misconception we often get is that people think that automatically firms who are going offshore, businesses going offshore, are stopping hiring locally. Are you still growing locally?
Yeah, definitely. In turn, I think it goes hand in hand in a way. If we can grow the back end and cope with more volumes and more clients coming through, well, then I still need more people at the point of sale and skilled up front to cope with that. And definitely, spend more money on marketing, branding, and attracting quality staff here. It actually means that I've got more money left to attract quality staff here in Australia as well. So yeah, I think it definitely works. But I think also there's an element of helping, or probably the gratefulness and the trustworthiness in relation to their passion and energy. I just finding that the culture of the Philippine environment is so embracing and so thankful and grateful if you get the right staff. And yeah, that's heartwarming, and the team can feel it over here. So yeah, no, I'd highly recommend it.
Awesome. One final question. Obviously, would you recommend people working with frontline accounting for their offshore staff?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose that word accounting for me is a funny thing, because I've got staff that aren't involved in accounting. And it's been an amazing ride, and I definitely plan and committed to growing further people with yourselves in relation to the experience of many people. And a lot of that's to do with the vetting, the interview process that you guys hold, but also then the onboarding of that staff member. With our business not being local, you're able to onboard the client and make it seem really professional, making sure that, it's a compliant employment position with agreements, even in relation to, the politicians over there being able to do holidays and voice it all. If we didn't have you involved in helping manage the staff, it would be very difficult. But I'm very much all for a compliant business. So I know that my team with you guys is definitely compliant, and they're getting paid as per, our agreements and as per how, the employment agencies and industry works over there. So it's critical. So at least it gets that off mine. But also one thing I didn't say is in relation to the IT side of it. Obviously, you guys do the internet and the initial setup and have that full support in relation to onboarding the staff member as well, and can work in with our IT company here in Australia more at a business level as well. So that's important.
Awesome. Well, Brett, thank you very much for your time, and chat to you again soon.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thank you. Keep safe.